Okay, I look like a sweaty hot mess because I just went for a run. I haven't ran in like a year or something. I don't even know. But these insights are coming in and I want to speak it. So it's a tale as old as time. Or, I'm sure it is. Who knows? But all right, so what happens to the wild ones, those of us that come here and we know that we're an individual and we don't want to have to compromise that. We don't want to have to essentially close off our hearts. Like we don't want to, it's like I don't even know. It's just a knowing. I knew that when I came here that I was like my own person. And that's what's so interesting about this, looking at it at 34 years, looking back. But what happens is that we develop this wound of not being good enough, because when you don't fit the narrative that your parents want you to be, you're not good. They get mad at you. And it's like we're always fighting against the shadow aspect that wants to control everything, wants to control the narrative and wants to put everything in a box. And we're fighting against that. But we still want connection. We still want to appease others. We still want to be loved. So we have this wound of not feeling lovable and not feeling good enough. And so like a woman, and obviously I'm just speaking from my experience, but like I attracted relationships where I wasn't treated well. And then, but like when you've been gaslit and these different things, like you don't understand until later that that's not normal, or that you can say, stay in your ground and like not accept that kind of behavior and that sort of thing. Like you learn, it's, oh God, there's another piece coming in from like, I remember my grandmother teaching me different things about like being proud of yourself. And like, she was very like strict and like there was a lot of like the physical aspect that ended up being a separate wound for me of like, I have to look and be a certain way. But there were some things she taught me about like holding yourself to a higher standard, essentially. And I think that helped me when it came to relationships, because I wouldn't just settle for anything, but I still was attracting people that were reflecting back to me that I'm not lovable enough, I'm not good enough. I'd have to dig into that because it's nothing, no like specifics are coming to me. But then for the masculine, it's like, he also just wants to be accepted as he is, but the masculine side is giving. And so he probably always finds himself in situations where he's giving to people who aren't appreciating his efforts. And so he's always having that reflected back to him because he's naturally a giver. He's a provider. He's a protector and a provider, and he's driven by that. But then because he wants to also be an individual, he's still getting the reflection of like not good enough, because again, the darkness is always wanting us to conform. So it's like you can't escape that aspect of everything. So then it's like for a woman, it's like if once she's had her heart broken X amount of times and she's a single parent and she's just trying to figure it out on her own, and she's like, I can't do this anymore, or whatever her situation is, then if she chooses to love herself and to heal, then she just keeps setting her boundaries and not her expectations, because that's a hard one. We have to try not to do that, but like our standards higher and higher. So, but for the it's also a driver for the masculine, because he truly wants to be in his full potential. I can't speak for every person, but I know I've had men tell me that before. So he has to be able to get past, like, she's not gonna just soothe your ego, because that's a man's shadow wants to control the narrative and wants to control. I need a man here to speak on this, but I know there's a part of him that wants to control her, because he's afraid of losing her, or he's afraid of her chaos. Like, it's just so intense, and there's a need to like navigate it together. But if she feels controlled, she's gonna she's gonna throw that back in his face. And so that's what's so can be so cute and fun about it, is that it is this dance, but it does take immense courage, and like I think wanting to learn and understand these things, these prophecies, and these human behavior aspects, that it's like, we, as much as we want to like skirt around the fact that our traumas and our childhood have shaped us, we can't, because they have. And these storylines that have been playing out over and over and over and over, you know, these are deeper wounds that need to be healed. 555 on the clock. And I know I just saw that in a reading, and I'm like, I keep feeling these weird fears that come up, and these like this stagnancy, and I'm like, this isn't something that I used to ever deal with. So I'm like, there's shadow aspects that I still have to, and I mean, it's ongoing, but it's something about like going into survival mode for a long period of time. It's like, it causes you to need healing. Like, it's like, again, it's like you want to just act like you're fine, and we do have to like to keep going, but it's like sometimes it's like you just got to stop and face the music of like, damn, I've been through a lot, and I really need to recover from it. I don't know, it's just coming to me, so I'm speaking on it.